Welcome to Heartbreak Chronicles.
Tristan's fingers slid across his phone screen, stopping at a text message that shouldn't have been sent to him. Same place tonight, bring your little toy. I've ditched that loser, he's still working overtime, haha. Can't wait to taste your big thing. P.S. Remember to bring Rupert and Dominic too. A foursome is more exciting. The screen displayed the sender, Vanessa, wife. Tristan gripped his phone tightly, his knuckles turning white. This obviously misdirected text was like a sharp knife, stabbing directly into his heart. His gaze moved to the time in the bottom right corner of his computer screen. 8:43 p.m. He was indeed working overtime, while Vanessa had told him she was meeting an important client tonight. Now everything made sense. Tristan calmly picked up the coffee mug on his desk and drained it. The bitter liquid slid down his throat, yet it was far less bitter than what he felt in his heart at that moment. He opened the drawer, took out a small black notebook, turned to the last page, and wrote, February 17th, revenge begins. He dialed Vanessa's number. Honey, I might be home very late tonight. Don't wait up for me. His voice was surprisingly calm. Oh, okay. I have a client to meet, so I might be back late too. Vanessa's lie came out effortlessly. I love you, Tristan said. I love you too, Vanessa replied with male laughter audible in the background. Tristan hung up, the corners of his mouth curling slightly upward. He opened his computer and logged into the home's smart monitoring system. In the living room, his wife and three good friends were sitting around the aromatherapy diffuser he had designed himself. Food critic Rupert, wine expert Dominic, and real estate company owner Pierce. They were holding wine glasses, gazing lustfully at Vanessa, his wife, who was wearing the red slip dress he had given her for their wedding anniversary, pouring his treasured red wine into everyone's glass. To our secret game, Vanessa raised her glass. And to poor Tristan, who still stupidly believes I'm meeting a client. That computer geek, Rupert sneered. All day staring at code and perfume bottles, doesn't even know his own wife is being played. His pathetic salary wouldn't even cover the cost of one of your purses, Dominic said, putting his arm around Vanessa's shoulder. Let alone satisfy you. Come on, let's enjoy tonight. Pierce unbuttoned his shirt. By the time that loser gets back, we'll be long done. Tristan turned off the monitor and took a deep breath. The anger in his heart had transformed into a cold plan. He opened his phone's memo app and began listing out a plan. It was time to make them pay for their choices. I once thought I was the luckiest man in the world. I, Tristan Miller, a cybersecurity engineer earning $35,000 a month, had the most beautiful wife in the city, Vanessa, three so-called good buddies, and a hobby known only to a few, perfume making. Yes, I'm an IT guy, but I have an exceptional talent for scents. This was my secret and also my pride. But on that rainy night, everything changed. That evening, I pretended to continue working overtime as planned, but I had actually packed my things and was ready to give Vanessa a surprise. I drove home, deliberately parking my car at the other end of the block, then walked back to the apartment building. The rain soaked my hair and clothes, but I didn't care. I could see warm yellow light shining through the apartment windows and could faintly hear laughter and music coming from inside. I took out my key and quietly opened the front door. 4 pairs of men's leather shoes were neatly arranged at the entrance, 3 of which I recognized all too well. I walked silently to the living room doorway and witnessed the heartbreaking scene. My good buddies were seated around the sofa. Food critic Rupert, wine expert Dominic, and real estate company owner Pierce. They were holding wine glasses, leering at the center of the sofa where Vanessa, my wife, was wearing that red slip dress I gave her for our wedding anniversary, pouring my treasured red wine into everyone's glass. To our 3rd anniversary, Vanessa raised her glass. 3 years without that fool ever finding out. My heart felt like it was pierced by a sharp knife, but I forced myself to stay calm. I wanted to see just how low they could sink. Look who's back. I finally spoke, my voice cold as ice. Did I interrupt something nice? The room instantly fell silent, for faces turned toward me, expressions shifting from shock to embarrassment to something like contempt. Tristan, Vanessa stood up, almost spilling her wine glass. How did you? Weren't you working overtime? Clearly, I'm not the only one working overtime. I looked around. Seems like quite a lively client meeting here. Buddy, don't misunderstand. Rupert laughed awkwardly. We just happened to be passing by. Cut the crap. I interrupted him. Do you think I'm blind? What are you four doing here? Celebrating your third anniversary of betraying me. Vanessa's expression changed from panic to anger. Fine. Since you've caught us, I'll be direct. Yes, we've been together for 3 years. Ever since I discovered all you do is type on keyboards and sniff your stupid perfumes all day. So the four of you are. What? Going to run away crying? Vanessa sneered. Let me tell you this. Your 3 good buddies not only know how to make money, they also know how to pleasure me together. You understand what I mean? Pierce smugly walked over and patted my shoulder. Brother, don't look at us like that. Vanessa is a goddess who needs things you can't provide. Whether it's money or bedroom matters. If you can't handle me sleeping with a CEO and your friends, then get out. They're real men, not a loser like you, Vanessa said harshly. Your pathetic salary isn't even enough to buy me an LV bag. I looked at this woman I once loved and these friends I once trusted, suddenly realizing something. In their eyes, I had always been nothing but a joke. I laughed coldly. As you wish. As I turned to leave, their unbridled laughter followed me. Look at him. Not even man enough. If we'd known he was such a wimp, we would have told him directly from the start. Shall we continue tonight? He doesn't dare come back anyway. I didn't look back, but I had already sworn in my heart. They would pay for tonight, a price they would never forget. That night, I didn't break down, didn't drink, didn't give up on myself. I returned to my backup apartment, a small place I rented on the other side of the city. Originally for resting during overtime work, now it became my sanctuary. I opened my computer and began organizing my plan. As a cybersecurity engineer, I knew how to gather information and how to hide my tracks. I began to thoroughly investigate Vanessa and those 3 friends. Rupert, this self-important food critic, prided himself on his golden tongue that could detect the most subtle flavor differences in dishes. His column and social media accounts had hundreds of thousands of followers. His entire career and self-worth were built on his taste buds that he was so proud of. Dominic, wine expert, claimed he could identify vintage, origin, and grape variety from just a sip of wine. He ran high-end wine tastings, providing unique sensory experiences for the wealthy. His nose and tongue were the tools he relied on for his livelihood. Pierce, real estate company owner, used taste as his selling point, pitching lifestyle to clients rather than just houses. His advertising slogan was, "I can smell a good neighborhood." Ridiculous. As for Vanessa, she was obsessed with high-end cosmetics and perfumes, always boasting about her ability to differentiate between genuine luxury goods and counterfeits by their scent difference. These 4 people had one thing in common. They all made a living and took pride in their sensory experiences. I smiled. This was perfect. I walked to a hidden corner of my study and opened a special safe. Inside was a rare moss sample I had obtained years ago from a biologist friend at a hacker security conference. This moss contained a special neurotoxin that, under certain conditions, would release a colorless, odorless compound capable of selectively destroying the olfactory and gustatory nerves in mammals. As someone with reverence for science, I had always kept it locked in the safe, never considering using it for any purpose. Until tonight, I took out the moss sample and began the extraction process. Thanks to the chemistry courses I minored in during college, this process wasn't difficult for me, requiring only precise temperature control and the correct solvent ratios. Any tiny error could render the product ineffective or produce other unpredictable effects. But tonight, my hand was unusually steady. Over the next 3 days, I called in sick, didn't contact anyone, and devoted myself entirely to this work. I knew Vanessa and those 3 would think I was licking my wounds in some corner, or desperately thinking about how to save my marriage. They were wrong. I was preparing a perfect gift, a farewell gift that would make them remember for the rest of their lives. Meanwhile, I didn't waste any time. I hacked into Rupert's blog backend and saw the restaurant review he planned to publish next week. I infiltrated Dominic's email and discovered he was about to host an important wine tasting event. I investigated Pierce's company accounts and found he was courting a big client, promising to find them a neighborhood with the most pleasant aroma. As for Vanessa, her calendar showed she planned to celebrate with those 3 men next week at Pierce's new property project. On the evening of the 3rd day, when the final process was completed, I held a bottle of what looked like ordinary aromatherapy oil. The transparent liquid swirled in the glass bottle, emitting a faint citrus and lavender scent. This was just a disguise. The real, active ingredient was completely imperceptible to humans. I picked up my phone and sent Vanessa a message. "I think we need to talk. I'll come by Friday night to get my things." Not surprisingly, she replied instantly, "Whatever. I'll be home with friends anyway. Don't think you can salvage anything." Friends. She didn't even bother to pretend anymore. Perfect. During the days of waiting, I wasn't idle. I contacted a tech company in Paris that had long been interested in my security system designs, and they finally offered me a position with triple my current salary. I booked my flight, packed my luggage, just waiting to deliver my farewell gift. At 7 o'clock Friday evening, I rang the doorbell of what was once my home. The door opened, and Vanessa stood there, wearing a sexy black dress, obviously to humiliate me. "Well, look who's back." I pretended to be surprised as I glanced at the living room. "I see everyone's here?" Quite a warm welcome committee. In the living room, Rupert, Dominic, and Pierce were all there, staring at me like a group of vultures. "Don't flatter yourself," Vanessa sneered. "We just happen to be having a little gathering. Take your things quickly and go. Don't spoil our good time." "Then I'd better hurry. Wouldn't want to interrupt your deep connection. Right?" I said lightly, walking straight to the bedroom. Vanessa followed me in, leaning against the doorframe watching me pack. "You know, Tristan," her voice carried a cruel pleasure, "I've always wondered why I married a man like you. Now I understand. It was just a moment of madness. A man who fiddles with computers and perfumes all day. How special. But you know, being special and being useful are 2 different things. Right?" I didn't answer, just continued organizing my clothes. "Pierce took me to the Maldives last month," she continued. "Rupert knows the owners of all the high-end restaurants in the city. Dominic lets me drink wine that costs tens of thousands per bottle. And you just type away at your computer, then get excited telling me about those boring codes and molecular formulas." I closed my suitcase and turned to her. "So this is your choice?" "That's right," she smiled smugly. "At least those 3 are real men. Not like you, more excited about sniffing perfume than doing me." I nodded. "I understand. Then I wish you all happiness." "Oh right." I paused. "I brought you all a gift. Consider it a breakup gift." Vanessa raised an eyebrow. "What gift? You think one gift will make me change my mind? Dream on." I took out that bottle of oil from my backpack. "Didn't you always like the aromatherapy I made? This is my latest creation, specially crafted for you and your real men. It's called Eternal Memory." Vanessa took the bottle, frowning. "Just this crappy thing? Try it," I said softly. "You might like it. After all, it's the only thing I can still give you." Back in the living room, Vanessa showed off this crappy thing to her lovers. "Come on, try it now," Rupert urged. "Let's see the computer guy's masterpiece. Maybe it's made with tears." Dominic laughed. "Tears of a broken heart? How much per drop?" Vanessa shrugged and walked to the aromatherapy diffuser in the corner, a gift I had given her for our first wedding anniversary. She poured in a few drops of the oil and turned on the switch. Gentle mist began to spread throughout the room. "Smells decent," Dominic professionally sniffed. "Citrus top notes? Lavender middle notes? Just this level?" Pierce laughed. "That's all he's capable of. No wonder Vanessa chose us instead." "Indeed ordinary?" Vanessa shook her head. "Just like you as a person, mediocre, unremarkable." I smiled and picked up my luggage. "Well then, enjoy yourselves. I hope my breakup gift will be remembered for a lifetime." "Don't worry," Vanessa sneered. We'll commemorate you properly later. I'm sure you will. I walked to the door, turning to look back one last time. Just remember, every choice has its price. Before leaving, I saw the four were already fully immersed in their little gathering, with the diffuser's mist evenly distributed throughout the room. Vanessa even added a few more drops of the oil, saying she wanted to thoroughly dispel the manly scent I left behind. What she didn't know was that she had just accelerated the chemical reaction I had meticulously designed. Perfect. As I walked out of the elevator toward my hotel room, my phone rang. It was Vanessa. I didn't answer. 10 minutes later, the phone rang again. This time it was Rupert, then Dominic, then Pierce. I turned off my phone, lay on the bed, and closed my eyes. Tomorrow, they would discover just how special my farewell gift truly was. At 9 o'clock the next morning, I turned on my phone. More than 20 missed calls and countless text messages. I clicked on a voice message. Tristan, something's wrong. We can't taste anything anymore. Can't taste anything at all. The doctor said, "Oh God, Tristan, what have you done? We need you. Please, help us." I deleted all the messages, then checked the news. Sure enough, the local hospital reported a rare case of collective neural damage. 5 patients simultaneously experienced complete anosmia and ageusia symptoms, which doctors couldn't explain. I smiled. They must be panicking. Imagine a food critic suddenly unable to taste any food, a wine expert unable to smell the aroma of wine, a real estate agent who sells based on taste, losing his sense of smell. As for Vanessa, her beloved high-end perfumes and cosmetics were now just expensive liquids and powders to her. Perfect revenge. I opened my laptop and logged into social media. On Rupert's page, his fans were asking when his latest restaurant review would be published. On Dominic's professional blog, someone was asking about details for the upcoming wine tasting event. On Pierce's company website, he was being promoted as a top real estate agent with extraordinary taste and refined lifestyle. I knew all of this would become history because a food critic who cannot taste food, a wine expert who cannot distinguish wine flavors, and a real estate agent who has lost his ability to experience refined living would be worthless in their industries. As for Vanessa, she lost not only her sense of taste and smell but also those 3 real men. Because for people who make a living through sensory pleasure, losing taste and smell is equivalent to losing their reason for existence. I closed my computer and packed my luggage. I had a plane ticket to Paris, where a tech company had extended an olive branch to me, with a salary 3 times what I earned at home. By the way, I could seriously develop my perfume-making hobby there. As I headed to the airport, my phone rang again. This time I answered. Tristan, please, tell me there's an antidote. Vanessa's voice was tearful. Antidote. I laughed softly. Why would there be an antidote? It's a gift, remember? Just as generous as the cuckold gift you gave me. You bastard. Do you know what it means to have no sense of taste or smell? She screamed. Rupert has already been removed from the Michelin Guide. Dominic has been fired by the winery. Pierce's clients are all canceling contracts. I can't even taste food anymore. Can't even tell the fucking taste of lipstick. Sounds terrible, I replied, with feigned sympathy in my voice. It's really a colorless, tasteless life, isn't it? Just like the cold attitude you four had toward my feelings when you betrayed me. Fuck you. You've ruined our lives. No, Vanessa. My voice suddenly turned icy. You four ruined my life first. I just sent you all a return gift. Reciprocity, isn't it? We'll call the police. I'll tell them you did it. Go ahead, I said calmly. But what you'll have to explain is more than just a failed marriage and 3 lovers. You'll have to explain why the 4 of you were simultaneously exposed to an extremely rare neurotoxin. A toxin that only releases its active ingredient under specific conditions. And I paused. Do you have any evidence? There was silence on the other end of the phone. By the way, I added, tell Rupert, he made 3 mistakes in that Japanese cuisine article he published in the magazine last week. Tell Dominic that bottle of Lafite he strongly recommended at the wine party was a fake. I could tell with one sniff. Tell Pierce. His taste, that he's so proud of, is just a nouveau riche's showing off in the eyes of those who know better. You! Vanessa's voice trembled. As for you, my dear ex-wife, I said softly, enjoy your new life. Without taste and smell, food is just texture, perfume is just color, sex is just motion. Oh, I forgot to tell you, this damage is permanent. The doctor should have told you all by now. I could hear her breaking down, crying on the other end of the phone. Goodbye, Vanessa. Good luck to you and your real men. Honestly, I'm curious what new common hobby you four people who can't taste life will find. Perhaps silent movies? Or something simpler, counting money together? After all, that's the only thing you all care about, and now it's the only thing you can still experience. I hung up the phone, turned it off, put on my sunglasses, and smiled as I walked toward the boarding gate. Sir, would you like to check your luggage? The ground staff asked. No, thank you. I glanced at the last text message I had just received on my phone. Rupert just committed suicide by jumping from his building. I've already thrown away all my burdens. Ladies and gentlemen, this is difficult to say, but your olfactory and gustatory nerves have completely died and can never be recovered. In simple terms, you will never be able to taste any food or smell any scent for the rest of your lives. The emergency room instantly erupted. What? This is fucking impossible. Dominic turned pale as if struck by lightning, frantically scratching at his tongue, as if this could bring back his lost sense of taste. Fuck, I'm a professional wine taster. My nose and tongue are everything to me. He screamed, his eyes filled with terror. Damn it, this is absolutely wrong. Pierce grabbed the doctor's collar. I want a second opinion, a third opinion. This can't be true. Vanessa collapsed into a chair, her entire being drained of soul, her eyes staring emptily ahead, her lips trembling constantly. There must be a way to cure this, she murmured. There must be an antidote. There must be. The doctor shook his head. We've done all possible tests. Your olfactory and gustatory nerves have suffered irreversible damage from some unknown toxin. We've never seen this condition before, but the result is definitive. This damage is permanent. No! Dominic screamed. Impossible! I have an important wine tasting next week, with VIP clients. My entire career is built on my taste buds. My new restaurant review is due to be published next week. Pierce groaned. How can I write it? I can't taste anything. My God. Vanessa finally reacted. We all got sick at the same time? This isn't a coincidence. This is. The four looked at each other, a terrible thought dawning on them. Tristan, Vanessa said softly. It must be him. That aromatherapy oil. Dominic jumped up abruptly. That bastard. He poisoned us. I'll kill him. Pierce took out his phone. I'm calling the police right now. He'll pay for this. The doctor looked at them in confusion. Please calm down. Who are you talking about? If you know the cause of the poisoning, please tell us. It's important for treatment. Vanessa trembled as she spoke. My ex-husband. He gave us a bottle of aromatherapy oil the night before last. We all inhaled it. The doctor frowned. Aromatherapy oil? That's very unusual. We need that bottle for analysis. It's all used up, Dominic said desperately. We had the diffuser on all night. Pierce angrily punched the wall. That cunning bastard. He calculated everything. I'll make him pay. The doctor tried to calm them. Don't jump to conclusions. The most important thing now is to adapt to a new life. Losing taste and smell doesn't threaten life, but it will significantly impact quality of life. We have counselors who can help you. Help? Dominic laughed coldly. Do you know what losing taste means for a wine expert? My entire life is ruined. My career as a critic is over, Rupert said numbly. My column, my show, my book, all gone. Oh my God. Vanessa suddenly realized something. Where did Tristan go? I haven't been able to contact him since last night. Pierce took out his phone to check flight information. Damn it, there was a flight to Paris yesterday. He planned everything in advance. The four sank into desperate silence. They knew that from this moment on, their lives would be forever changed, and that loser they once mocked had left victorious. On the other side of the globe, Tristan was enjoying Paris's most famous breakfast, fresh croissants and rich coffee. He could smell the aroma of the bread, taste the bitterness and sweetness of the coffee. These simple flavors were now more precious to him than any luxury, because he knew some people would never experience these again. 6 months later, I stood in front of my company's new office on the Champs-Élysées in Paris, looking at the Eiffel Tower through the window. As the cybersecurity director, my salary was 3 times what I earned back home. In my spare time, I began seriously managing my own perfume studio, and my first commercial perfume, Souvenirs, Memories, caused a sensation as soon as it hit the market. Fashion magazines, perfume bloggers, celebrities, everyone was talking about this magical perfume that can evoke one's deepest memories. Of course, no one knew the true story behind this perfume. No one knew that the inspiration for creating it came from a perfect revenge. My assistant Emma knocked and entered. "Mr. Miller, here are today's mail and meeting schedule." She handed me a stack of documents. "Also, this envelope arrived this morning. There's no return address, but the postmark is from the United States." I waited until Emma left before opening it. Inside was a newspaper clipping, a small news item from the local paper. Famous food critic Rupert Wilson committed suicide, reportedly falling into severe depression after losing his sense of taste and smell 6 months ago. Unable to continue his career, I threw the clipping into the shredder, saying softly, "I guess that's an occupational hazard, buddy. A food critic without taste is like a porn star without a dick." Oh wait, you didn't have one anyway. Otherwise Vanessa wouldn't have cheated. I picked up my phone to check emails. Sure enough, another news item popped up. Well-known wine expert Dominic Thompson was rushed to the emergency center due to alcohol poisoning and drug overdose. In critical condition. Refused to drink the punishment wine, now drinking yourself to death. I shook my head. Seems Dominic really likes to drink, even if he can't taste it anymore. Commendable spirit. As for Pierce, my social media tracking showed his real estate company had gone bankrupt, and he personally was sentenced to 5 years in prison for fraud and embezzlement. Without refined taste as a selling point, his business quickly collapsed. Those wealthy clients seeking lifestyle all left, looking for the next master who could bring them sensory pleasure. In jail so soon? I laughed looking at Pierce's prison uniform photo. Well, whether the prison food tastes good or not doesn't matter to you anymore, right? I opened an anonymous email account and found that Vanessa had sent another email. "Tristan, I know you're reading these emails. I just want to say I'm sorry. I've lost everything. All my friends have left me. No one wants a woman who can't even smell perfume. I've tried to kill myself, but I can't even taste the bitterness of pills, which makes even death impossible for me. This is torture, Tristan, a torture worse than death. Please, if there's an antidote, tell me." I closed the email account, feeling not a shred of compassion. "You say no one wants you anymore?" I muttered to the screen. "Look on the bright side. There are definitely men who would be interested in you, blind men or those with chronic rhinitis. They don't care if you can smell perfume. They only care about your body, just like you did with me. It's called karma. Ever heard of it?" My phone vibrated. It was an encrypted text message from my friend in the biomedical field. "Sample analysis complete. Confirmed no antidote. Neural damage is permanent. Very sorry." I clicked delete, then walked to my workbench. Today, I was going to create a new perfume called Justice. This was a perfume whose mystery only I could smell. Others would smell the freshness of citrus and jasmine, feel the warmth of sandalwood and musk. But only I knew that beneath these surface scents, a message was hidden, the sweetness of revenge. If you had known my gift was so special, would you still have chosen to betray me? I softly asked the Paris streetscape outside my window. Curiosity killed the cat, greed killed the person. And you, both curious and greedy, were destined to pay the price. A year later, while on a business trip to New York, I decided to visit the place where it all began. The city had changed, and so had the people. I walked along once familiar streets, passing by the apartment building where Vanessa and I used to live. The doorman told me that the apartment had new owners. Vanessa had moved out, and no one knew where she had gone. I nodded and continued walking. In a coffee shop, I accidentally saw a familiar figure. Vanessa, haggard and worn out, wiping tables in the corner. Our eyes met. She froze, a series of complex emotions flashing across her face. Fear, remorse, shame, finally settling on despair. I walked to the counter and ordered a coffee. Sugar? The server asked. No, thank you, I replied, then nodded slightly toward Vanessa. I prefer to taste the bitterness of coffee itself. It reminds me of a truth about life. Some things taste bitter, but the aftertaste is sweet. A flash of pain crossed her eyes. I paid and stopped beside her as I passed. Long time no see, Vanessa. I see you found a new job. She lowered her head. Are you here to mock me? No, I said softly. Just curious how your new life is going. You've seen it, she said bitterly. This is all I have now. No one will hire someone who can't taste anything for important work. Even fast food places don't want me because I can't tell if there's too much salt. I nodded. That's unfortunate. I heard Rupert committed suicide. Unfortunate. She suddenly looked up, anger burning in her eyes. You destroyed our lives. I don't even have the most basic pleasures anymore. Food has no taste. Flowers have no fragrance. I don't even know if I have body odor. This is a living death, Tristan. I looked at her quietly. Sounds familiar, Vanessa. Just like what you and those three did to me. You mocked my talent, betrayed my trust, slept together behind my back, then flaunted it in my face. How does it feel now? Losing the most important thing, is it painful? She fell silent, the fire in her eyes gradually dying out. So are you satisfied now? She finally asked, seeing us all suffering so much. Are you happy? Rupert is dead. Dominic is an alcoholic. Pierce is in prison, and I've fallen to this state. Are you satisfied? I shook my head. It's not the suffering that satisfies me, Vanessa. It's justice. You forechose betrayal, chose to mock what a person valued most. Now, you've also lost what you valued most. This isn't revenge. It's balance. I took a sip of coffee, feeling its bitterness and aroma. You know what, Vanessa? I understand something now. What? You thought my talent was useless because you only saw the surface. You never understood that real power comes from understanding and respecting your own abilities. I put down my coffee cup. You said I wasn't a real man because I didn't understand fine dining like Rupert, couldn't appreciate wine like Dominic, didn't throw money around like Pierce. But look at them now, one suicide, one alcoholic, one in prison. And me, I spread my arms. Standing here, having everything I want. That's the best proof of who the real man is. Vanessa lowered her head, her shoulders trembling slightly. You know what's most ironic? I stood up. You always mocked my perfumes, said it was a useless talent. Now, you've lost the ability to smell perfume while I've built my own brand in Paris based on it. That's the joke of fate. You'll never forgive me, will you? She raised her head, her eyes full of tears. No. I looked directly into her eyes. Never. Just like you'll never taste food again. I turned to leave, but stopped. Oh right. Forgot to tell you some good news. I'm engaged to a woman who respects me. She loves everything about me, including my perfumes. Don't know why. Suddenly wanted to tell you. Walking out of the coffee shop, the sunlight shone on my face. I took a deep breath, smelling the aroma of freshly baked bread from the bakery at the corner, the sweetness of roses from the flower shop, all the scents of the city. These are feelings Vanessa and her lovers will never experience again. For them, the world has forever lost its color and taste. I took out my phone and checked the time. My new office in New York would have its ribbon-cutting ceremony in an hour. Media, celebrities, industry experts would all be there. I would launch my third perfume, named Rebirth. It represents my new life, my victory, my revenge. As I walked toward the taxi, my phone rang. It was an unknown number. "Hello, is this Mr. Tristan Miller?" An official voice asked. "Yes, I am. This is Memorial Hospital. We found a letter among Mr. Rupert Wilson's belongings, specifically addressed to you. According to his last wishes, we are contacting you now." I was silent for a moment. "When can I come pick it up?" I finally said. "Anytime, Mr. Miller." I changed my route, directing the taxi driver to take me to the hospital. At the hospital's administrative office, a nurse handed me a sealed envelope. "This is what Mr. Wilson left for you." Back in the taxi, I opened the envelope. Inside was just a note. "Tristan, by the time you read this letter, I will no longer be in this world. I want to say you won. You proved to us in the cruelest way that you truly were the strongest among us. We were wrong. Your talent wasn't just useful, it was deadly. You took away what we valued most, just as we took dignity from you." Fair trade. As a former food critic, I thought I knew everything about taste. But until I lost it, I never understood what it meant to me. This is my last tasting, the taste of death. I hope it has more flavor than the emptiness I've experienced these past 6 months. Rupert. I folded the paper, put it back in my pocket, and said softly, "At least you had the courage to face your choices, Rupert. Compared to those two cowards, you showed some backbone. But it's too late." I took out my phone and saw another new message. Dominic had died of alcohol poisoning. Another one, I muttered to myself. Seems a wine expert who can't taste wine is worse off than a pianist without hands. At least the latter can play with their feet. On the way to my new office, I thought about the despair in Vanessa's eyes, about the deaths of Rupert and Dominic, about Pierce's imprisonment. I should feel satisfied, feel victorious, feel it was all worth it. But strangely, I only felt calm. Not forgiveness, not pity, just a calmness that comes after completing a mission. Like a perfectly blended perfume. Every note just right, every ingredient in its proper place. My revenge, like my perfume, colorless and odorless, yet changing everything. When the taxi stopped in front of my new office, flashbulbs and cheers greeted me. I straightened my tie and smiled as I walked toward the red carpet. A reporter rushed forward. "Mr. Miller, what's the inspiration behind your new perfume, Rebirth?" I paused, thought for a moment, then answered, "Everyone has a chance for rebirth. But the prerequisite is that you must first learn to respect. Respect others and respect yourself. We heard your ex-wife and several friends suffered a mysterious loss of smell and taste. What's your take on this?" Another reporter asked. My smile remained steady. Life is full of irony, isn't it? Sometimes the things we value most are precisely what we most easily lose. There are rumors this is connected to you. How do you respond? I looked into the reporter's eyes. My response is, every choice has consequences. I chose to create beautiful scents, they chose betrayal and mockery. As for the results, I shrugged. I guess that's what people often call karma. So what's your plan for your next perfume? I'm developing a perfume called Karma. I smiled. Inspired by an ancient truth, you reap what you sow. Sounds quite philosophical. Yes, I nodded. In a way, this is the last gift I'm sending to my ex-wife and her lovers. An eternal lesson. Don't fuck with a talented man, especially when you mock his talent. The reporters were stunned for a moment, then burst into laughter, thinking I was joking. Only I knew this was the most serious thing I'd ever said. I walked into the office, surrounded by the fragrance of perfume. This was my world, my kingdom, an empire I built with talent and intelligence. And outside this world, for people were forever trapped in a colorless, tasteless prison. A prison built by their own choices. I felt no regret about this, because as my first perfume was named, this is just a memory. Painful memories, sweet revenge. Colorless, odorless, yet eternal. One day, 3 years later, I received a call from the United States. "Is this Tristan Miller?" The female voice asked. "Yes, it is. I'm Vanessa's sister. I want to tell you, Vanessa committed suicide last night." I was silent for a moment. I'm sorry to hear that, I finally said. No, you're not sorry. Her voice was full of hostility. I know you did it. Vanessa told me. You ruined her life. No, I calmly replied. She ruined her own life. She made choices. I just made her face the consequences. You cold-blooded bastard. Perhaps, I said softly, but at least I'm an honest bastard. I prefer direct revenge to betrayal and deception. You'll go to hell. Maybe, I laughed, but at least I'll be able to taste the flames there. Your sister and her men couldn't even do that. I hung up the phone and turned to the window. The Paris night was as beautiful as ever. I took a deep breath, smelling the perfume drifting from my studio. My latest creation, closure. Everything was over. I had won. Not through forgiveness, not through forgetting, but through perfect revenge. I picked up my phone and dialed my fiancée. Darling, I'm thinking of having a French dinner tonight, then tasting that 1982 Lafite. What do you say? Sounds wonderful. You know how much I love those flavors. Yes, I smiled. Flavor is important. Being able to taste life is such a precious gift. Hanging up the phone, I looked at the photos on my desk, me and my fiancé, and the ultrasound picture of our soon-to-be-born child. This is life. Losing, then regaining. Pain, then rebirth. But one thing will never change. The price of betrayal is a colorless, tasteless world. And I will always remember the taste of revenge. It tastes like victory, smells like justice. Perfect balance.
That's the end of today's story. For more captivating tales, hit subscribe and never miss an episode.